Is the government open? Is it shut? No one knows. What does that mean? So over the weekend, the government shut down, and it was supposed to have been shut down because of a disagreement between the Republicans and the Democrats, the president kind of hovering somewhere in the background over, do we continue to fund the government on like a 3-week to 3-month basis, or do the Democrats hold firm and say we want some kind of reform around DACA? There's a lot going on in this. Essentially, the Democrats said we are willing to shut down the government so that we can get some kind of pathway to citizenship for 800,000 people who were brought to America as kids and have kind of been left in limbo since the president got rid of all their protections. And it seems like today, as we speak, they have found some kind of resolution to this, which is nothing. It seems like it's going back to normal. We're gonna open this up to conversation, but first, thoughts, 5 words or less.
This is a shutdowner.
Losing the American people.
Winter's coming.
What the fuck just happened? So essentially, they wanted to shut down the government so that they could get some, the Democrats thought they had some kind of like leverage over getting some immigration reform done. The response is they are going to keep the government funded for 3 more weeks, for a 3-week window through February 8th. And then the Senate will proceed on some kind of debate about deferred action for childhood arrivals. What's happening?
So, okay, so they're just opening it up for discussion?
Nothing happened.
Snooze button once again.
Yeah.
Snooze button is exactly right. Do you guys care about any of this?
I do. The thing about politics now and nowadays is like it's so much, it's so heavy, and it's so much going on that it's hard to really be informed about everything and to really get a grasp on exactly what's happening. Because this isn't the first time the government's been shut down. I know it happened back in the 90s. You said 2013, yes, Grace?
Up in 2013,
so for me and you guys watching, Brett enlightened me because I was reading this morning and was thinking like, what? And normally, after I have my coffee, I'm pretty lucid, but this morning I couldn't get it together.
Well, it was my understanding that in the government shutdown of 2013 under President Obama, that was the first government shutdown in 17 years. Was there another shutdown
in the 90s?
About right, in the 90s.
Yeah,
okay.
Gingrich, Clinton, right? They shut down the government.
Okay,
yeah.
So it had been, so it happened in 2013, and I told Brett and Jason, Xavier, before we went to tape that I was watching some of the coverage then to inform me on like what's happening now, because you can sort of juxtapose. And I'm nervous that a government shutdown is now sort of viewed as like a bargaining and like negotiating tactic, but then maybe not because nothing's really happening. But it's weird that like it didn't happen for 17 years and it happened in 2013. And what we saw is President Obama reading letters from people who worked for the federal government saying that, now they're in furlough and they don't know what to do and it's really sad. And then just yesterday I saw an interview with Mike Pence echoing some of the same things, and it's all just like shifting blame.
It was such
onto
a
other
nightmare.
people.
It was such a nightmare because all you see are people trying to name the shutdown after different, like after Trump or Chuck Schumer. So you have the president who's in charge, and the Democrats want to call it the Trump shutdown because of a lot of different reasons. And it's very understandable that folks would be frustrated with the president because like Chuck Schumer went in and sat down with the president and essentially on last Sunday over cheeseburgers, Schumer felt pretty confident that Trump was cool with it. Trump's like, all right, I'll give you deferred action on childhood arrivals. We'll let the people who were brought here as kids stay here. That's something that 80% of Americans are in favor of. We'll let that happen if, and Schumer was like, I'll give you some money to build your border wall. It was very transactional. Schumer goes back and then he gets a phone call from the president saying, oh, it seems like, or he gets a phone call saying that deal's not happening at all. And Schumer's just like, I don't know what to do. Schumer said, it seems like the deal-making president, the guy who's famous for making deals, just kind of went to the sidelines for this. It's very frustrating. This is after like a week and a half ago, the Trump was like, give me some kind of bipartisan deal. The Democrats and Republicans get together, come sit with me. So Democrats and Republicans get together, Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin, they come in and they say, we've got an answer. And they walk in and they say, here's our answer. And that was the shithole country's meeting. And it seemed like in a serpentine formation from one of the wall doors in the Oval Office, because it doesn't look like there's doors, the wall's just open. And like these like hardline Republicans come out and are like, all right guys, that's not a deal. And then Trump's like, why do we want these guys, all these hardliners want me to send people back from shithole countries? And then all the bipartisan people are like, why the hell are we doing anything? And it seemed like the Democrats were like, we are going to just put our foot down, shut down the government. And that lasted for 3 days. And it seems like they have a thing. But before we went to tape, just now I heard there's a rumor going around that Trump isn't even gonna sign this.
Yeah.
So how does it make you guys feel when you hear the government's shutting down? You're not from here. How does it make you feel?
I mean, what I'm interested in is the spin they're putting on it. Like Donald Trump, in his tweet saying like, oh God, like damn Democrats, like holding up the military, holding them hostage, and then obviously the Democrats are, their heart's in the right place. They're trying to use this as leverage to get, to do the right thing. And then you've got Republicans and everyone else on the other side saying, oh my God, these, Statue of Liberty is getting closed down. How much longer are they going to hold things up for? Like, what do you think about that? Like the spin that they're using?
I think it's really interesting, and I think that they're using really obvious American patriotic nationalist talking points as pawns, and you see that from both sides, and you saw it in 2013 as well. Like people are bringing up like, oh, our military, they're bringing up this, and remember, it's an interesting juxtaposition. I would urge you guys to look into it, because you had President Obama said in the speech following the government shutdown, he's like, I wonder what would be different, or I imagine how people would respond if this was a Democratic-controlled Congress and a Republican president, or something along those lines. And now we're sort of seeing that shift, and I just don't think it's responsible to be using people like hardworking American jobs that happen to be working for the federal government as pawns. I don't think they appreciate that either.
Michael Che on the Weekend Update this weekend was like, did they get, like, if you're a guy who a person who like goes to work and doesn't get paid for it, because a lot of people are doing it, is it like the cable company where they'll like give you free days later? Like, do we get some kind of, like, prorated rate? Like, if I don't go to work, do I get back? If I do go to work and I don't get paid, do I get extra later?
In 95, my stepmother worked for the government, and when there was a furlough back, it was 95, fall of 95 when they had the government shut down back then. And I remember my parents being really fearful as to when, because she didn't go back to work for like a month.
It was long.
It was a long time. So just for you guys watching too, so the issue at hand is DACA, yes?
It's immigration reform.
Got
it. Yeah, DACA is like the central part, the most identifiable part.
What bothers me about that, you guys, is like these are children who have been here who they want to deport to some place they've never been to before. For the sake of what? And these are also people who, and I think we talked about this here on Pop Trigger as well, people who are more than that, want to go to college, that are giving to our economy, that have jobs, that are doing the right things in comparison to some American citizens who are complete fuck ups. So it's this, that's what blows my mind about all of this, is that why can't, if Trump and the powers that be are as smart and informed and as of the people as they say they are, why can't they see that how detrimental this is?
Let's not forget that in 2013, during the government shutdown, Donald Trump went on Fox News and said that the blame should squarely lay, the buck stops with the president. And I think there's a fair argument for that. And I would say that about 2013 as well. And I think that Obama held that accountability a little bit better. And now you have Donald Trump just, you have to look at the like before and after.
Yeah.
Like, you got to accept some of the blame. And he's just throwing this on Chuck Schumer and throwing this on the Democrats.
Everyone's like, I don't know what the president wants. And that's why the president has never, he's like, says, I've never been drunk, I've never had anything to drink, but he's acting like a shitty alcoholic father. Because he's just like, not available for you to really know what he feels like. He is impetuous, random, full of rage at times, and he doesn't offer any guidance. But if you end up against all odds turning out to like have a good result in your life, then he's gonna swoop in and claim credit, like I made you a better person by making you stronger. That's what the president's being like. It's really frustrating.
It's a great point.
I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if this bipartisan continuing resolution to fund the government for 3 more months is going to get signed by the president. So that kind of thing is what's making everyone outside of Washington super pissed off, not only at the president, but also I imagine even more so at Congress. So keep checking back on Twitter and everywhere else for updates on that.